Hello everybody, and welcome to Movie Logic. Today we're going to be talking about Pet Semetary, the 2019 edition. I got my co-host Caroline today. He is a cat, and he kind of looks like Church. So, yep, it's a boy named Caroline, because we thought it was a girl cat until we found out it was a boy cat. This is one of the only adaptations of one of Stephen King's novels that was turned into a movie that actually scared the king himself. There are actually 5 cats used in the making of Pet Semetary. There are also some references to other Stephen King movies that I'll be pointing out throughout the film. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we get started, we're going to talk about a whole lot of spoilers, so go ahead and click off now if you have not yet seen Pet Semetary 2019. So the opening scene is actually the very last scene in the movie, for those of you who don't know. A few minutes later, we have this kind of parade of kids parading their animal into Pet Semetary, and I must say, in real life, this must be one of the scariest things to witness. Here we are with Ellie watching SpongeBob, and as she's watching SpongeBob, the episode of SpongeBob is actually the episode where they thought they killed Squidward, and then Squidward comes back from the dead. So, I mean, it kind of ties in with the movie, just in case you didn't know what episode of SpongeBob that was. So Ellie decides she's going to go visit Pet Semetary, and she's going to climb this brush right here, and she puts her foot in a bee's nest. Only problem with putting your foot in the bee's nest is you're not just going to get stung by one bee, you're probably going to get stung by the whole damn nest. So if you put dirt into a bee sting, it will suck the poison out, relieving the pain. One problem is here is the dirt's dry, so where did Judd get this wet dirt from? So after Judd helps Ellie out with some bee sting problems, she makes him some cookies and decides to walk over to his house and hand them to him. Well, instead of knocking on the door like anybody else would in real life, she just kind of walks on in after softly saying, "Are you home?" So some time goes by, it's officially Halloween, and Church here is found in the road. So they decide they gotta bury him. Well, they're burying him, and Judd decides maybe it'd be cool if the cat came back, so they take it to a different place to bury it, which we all know is where the dirt is sour. So as they're up there burying Church, you see some lightning in the distance. One problem with this scene right here is that when the lightning strikes, you hear thunder immediately. The lightning has to be a good 10 miles away. Probably more, so you wouldn't hear the thunder right after the lightning hits. It would probably be about 10 to 15 seconds delay, but right here you see a lightning strike that occurs 10 plus miles away in an instant thunder. So after they bury Church, Church comes back. He's kind of a dick now because, you know, this is how that soil does. When things come back, they're mean as hell. Everyone's having a hard time coping with life in Maine, and then it's Ellie's birthday. At Ellie's birthday, someone is mentioned. You hear someone say, I think it's Judd, talk about a Saint Bernard with rabies to kill about 4 people.
Saint Bernard.
Sound familiar? Yeah, he's talking about Cujo. So Church decides he's gonna come home and sit his ass right in the middle of the road. Ellie runs up to him. Gage decides he wants to see the cat too. He runs out the road. Now, if you've seen the original Pet Semetary, we all know Gage gets hit by the truck. But in this adaptation, there's a weird little situation that happens where Gage gets snatched up and then Ellie gets hit by a trailer. I have every problem with this. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, the trailer would not have separated from the truck due to a jackknife. That doesn't happen. I don't know of any occurrence where that has happened. The trailer would have stayed attached to the truck, and the whole truck as a unit would have went to the ditch. Also, there's no latch on the trailer, if you look right here, to attach the truck to the 5th wheel. So there's a 5th wheel, in case you never know what it's called, the piece that attaches the trailer is called the 5th wheel. There's nothing to attach the trailer to the 5th wheel of the truck. So I don't know how to understand how this trailer was getting pulled by the truck. No 5th wheel, that's how it locks. Also, the air hoses and the 24-volt cable, power cable to control the lights, is also missing, not attached at all. So that means this truck was pulling this trailer with nothing attached to it. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way the truck would have been pulling the trailer. And if you look right here, nothing is attaching. It's keeping the trailer attached to the truck. Nothing at all. Now you could say, oh, they forgot. Well, there's no forgetting, because if you stop that truck at a red light, or even before you pull off, it's just going to slide right off the back and fall. There's no way. So let's pretend that this does happen, which is it wouldn't. The tanker comes off the truck and slides. Ellie had plenty of time to move, but she made no effort to get out the way. So the tanker hits her. Well, she gets flung into the ditch. I don't see how this is possible either. She was standing still, therefore she would have no forward momentum. You would need forward momentum to bounce. She's just standing there, so she would not get flung. If she got hit, she would most likely get pushed off to the side or go underneath the trailer. And if it knocked her off to the side, chances are she would have lived with a few broken bones. And like I said before, if you have seen the original version of Pet Semetary, we all know that Gage was killed by the truck. The truck straight up hit him head on. There was no trailer attachment, anything like that. Even though I did like the flip because it got me, because I was expecting Gage to get creamed by this truck and he got saved, I wasn't expecting Ellie to get hit. Meanwhile, this doesn't work. It would have made better sense for Gage to get hit by the front of the truck and for Ellie to get hit by the trailer, just because it doesn't make any sense from a physics standpoint. Also, if you notice here, there's blood on the ladder, but Ellie is perfectly fine. Looks like she's sleeping in the ditch. So, whose blood is that? Obviously it's Ellie's, but Ellie's not bleeding. And then you look at the trailer, and then you see the skid plate is backwards. For those of you who don't know what a skid plate is, the skid plate is when the trailer goes to attach to the truck. The skid plate rides on the fifth wheel. So the skid plate rides the fifth wheel, and then it kind of like guides the latch on the trailer into the fifth wheel and locks it. The skid plate's been pulled backwards right here. How? Everything was going forward. Even if it did detach, like which is it wouldn't, but even if it did detach, nothing is going to pull the skid plate backwards. So I don't understand how the skid plate has been pulled backwards here. Well, since that section of land brought back the cat, I can bring back Ellie too, right? So Lewis decides to go dig up his daughter. Jason Clarke, the guy who played Lewis, said this was the most scary scene in the film because he actually was digging in a real cemetery at 4 in the morning. So after he digs his daughter up and tries to take her to the area past Pet Semetary where everything turns evil and comes back to life, I can't help but notice she's limp. Let's just go ahead and talk about why she would not be limp. First things first, there's something called rigor mortis. That would stop you from being limp after a couple hours of being dead. Also, the funeral home would have embalmed the body and would have been hardened by formaldehyde. So the limbs would be stiff and locked into place. She would not be limp, just flopping around. After this, Pasco gives Gage a visit. So Gage here yelling Pasco is very similar to how Danny yells red rum in The Shining.
Danny? Red rum! Red rum! Red rum!
Danny, what's the matter, hon?
Red rum!
And if you notice on the sign over here, it says Derry in 20 miles. For those of you who don't know what Derry is, Derry, Maine is where the film It takes place, where Pennywise the clown lives and feasts on the children. That's another Stephen King novel and series of movies that have come out that I've actually covered already. I'll link right here, or right here. It's gonna pop over here. It's gonna somewhere. So Ellie does her usual and comes back from the dead and is a little shit and decides that she's gonna kill Judd. Then she's going to kill her mom. Before she kills her mom gives a really good Michael Jackson impression with Gage. And then she dies. And then they're like Gage in the car. Lewis goes to take his daughter's head off with a shovel, and then he gets impaled to the chest. Now he's dead. And now everyone gets buried. A little bit, that plot of land behind Pet Semetary, and everyone's a damn zombie, I guess would be the word. And then here comes a really cool scene where all the family comes, and Gage is still in the car, and they're coming, and he has a can of gas because he burned down Jed's house, which is something that's actually shown in the original movie that wasn't shown here. Also, Judd played a bigger role in the original movie than this one, and there was way more of Pasco, of the guy that got killed, hit by the car, and then follows Lewis around. He was barely shown, even though he did play an important role. I did like some of the scenes he was in. And then they come, and then if you notice here, we'll go back to our very beginning, and that's the end scene. They fuck Gage up, boys. It's no questions asked. Blood's everywhere. Poor Gage. So that's gonna bring us to the end. Another short video. The short videos are good because that means I couldn't find nothing wrong with this. The biggest thing was the semi-truck. That was completely bullshit. That's going to draw an end to Halloween of 2019. I hope you have a happy Halloween. I hope you find like, some good houses to get to if you are trick-or-treating. If you're not trick-or-treating, be sure to be one of the good houses that give out the good shit. You know, don't be that kid that, don't be the house that hands out hard candy. Don't do it. No kids like that. Hope everybody stays safe. Don't drink and drive. I'm sure to have a good time. This is probably the only time you see Caroline, which he was cleaned himself the entire time. Next on the channel, we are doing Avengers Endgame. So we're gonna go and start opening up that can of worms. And until then, I hope you have a good week, a good rest of October, a fantastic Halloween, and I'll see you in the next one.